Everyone, welcome to AWS series. In our previous episodes, we have discussed about the network configuration or the networking concept with AWS. There are a lot of demonstration we have covered in the past. From now onwards, we'll shift our point of discussion towards the serverless compute services with AWS. So far in any of the demonstration, whenever I have required to host any application in AWS, I have used the EC2 server. And for that, basically, I have to create the EC2 instance. I have to log into the EC2 instance and deploy the application code. What do I mean by that? In those kind of services like EC2 instance, the infrastructure is managed by the cloud provider like AWS. But when it comes to the platform management, like your application deployment process, the deployment configuration, or within the server, whatever application configuration is required in order to run that application, and on top of that, the scaling capabilities and all, everything you have to manage, because it is just the infrastructure part which is managed by your cloud provider. But in the case of the serverless compute, basically the entire infrastructure as well as the platform is managed by the cloud provider, which is in this case AWS. So there are a number of serverless compute services available with AWS. Here is the here in this particular screen, you can see that we have quite a number of different compute serverless service options available. To start with it, we are going to discuss about the AWS Lambda function, and I'll give you a demonstration how easily you can deploy your application code with the help of Lambda function. After that, we'll be moving towards the ForGate, Event Bridge, step function, and there will be a lot of demonstration which will be looking into, which is going to be the part of your serverless services with AWS. To start with it, let's create the AWS Lambda function. So I have already logged into the AWS console. Here is my console homepage. To create a Lambda function, you can simply search with the Lambda function, and then that will open the Lambda function console window. I already have one function running or created. Now the way you can create a function, simply you can click on create function. But before that, let's first of all understand what is Lambda function. Like I said, Lambda function is a compute services that runs your code without need to manage the server. You just need your code runs scale up down automatically with pay as you go pricing model. What do I mean by that? You are going to get charged by AWS for the amount of time when you are running your application code in this Lambda function. So if you have Lambda function which is running 10 times a day, for that period of time, when these 10 number of time your function is running, you are going to get charged only for that particular. Basically, Lambda function you can use for a small task which for which you don't want to go and start writing an entire life cycle. If you have a single method which you would like to invoke as your application code, you can simply develop that particular method and host this method in the Lambda function. The examples are, let's say you might want to have a method to process the number of files from a directory or from S3 bucket. You may have some kind of a long running workflows which you would like to execute with the help of Lambda function. You may want to perform some kind of a database operations or the integration between the services, between the UI, or some kind of an integration layer which you would like to build with the help of Lambda function. That is also possible. You can also write a scheduled job or the periodic task with the help of Lambda function, or at the end you can also host a simple web application or smallest web application in the Lambda function. As we recommend that we should not be deploying a complex detailed web application inside the Lambda function, but the simplest possible web application is okay to host in the Lambda function. All right, now how does it works? Basically, to show you, first of all, let's create a Lambda function. Right, so let's click on create Lambda function. To define the Lambda function, you have three options. First is author from scratch, which means that you as the developer or the owner of the Lambda function, you would like to define what kind of a technology stack, what kind of a code you would like to host inside the Lambda function. So default option is selected. Apart from this, AWS has also provided their number of blueprints, which has a pre-built technology stack, and then the samples are given which you could leverage to define your Lambda function or to customize your function. This is useful when you would like to get started with the type of Lambda functions on a specific technology stack, for example, Java, Python, or Node.js, and so on and so on. Third option is basically the container image based option, wherein if you have any container images stored publicly or maybe in the Elastic Container Registry, ECAR, then you can make use of that container images to run your Lambda function as a container. All right. Now I'm getting started with the default author from scratch option, and first you need to give it the name of your Lambda function. This is a demo, call it as a demo function. Next, you have to define the technology stack on which you would like to write your code and deploy it into Lambda function. So there are a number of them available: .NET, Java, Python, Node.js, Ruby, and then there are some specific technology specific versions are also there. So these are some of the old versions supported. If your application code is dependent on a specific version which is older than the current default version supported, then you can choose the specific version as well. I'm going to keep the Node.js or the Python, let's say I'm going to keep it that one. Then you have the architecture type. The way you have the architecture type selected, you select while creating the EC2 instance. Similarly, you have the architecture type while choosing the Lambda function as well. Next, you can define the execution role. When you create the Lambda function, by default the execution roles gets created. You can see that the new role when I'm going to create this particular function, the role name with this particular name will be created in IAM, right? Additionally, you can configure some of the other network and security related configuration. For example, this is a platform. For example, you may want your Lambda function to be part of VPC, because we are talking about the serverless compute services by default, or also known as the platform as services. By default, these services will be publicly available, which means that like S3 bucket, I should be able to communicate to these Lambda functions over the internet. But if you would like to restrict the internet access to these functions, then you may want to restrict the communication of these functions within a particular virtual network or within the VPC. So in that case, you may want to select the networking option. So you can enable the network option, and you can specify within this particular virtual network or the VPC, this Lambda function should be accessible. For the demonstration, I'm going to keep the default option as is, which means that it would be publicly accessible. You can use the code signing. For the code signing, you need to use the AWS signing service. First of all, create the signing option from there, and then option will be available from here in the AWS to sign in your code. And last option is the tags, which you can define for your Lambda function depending upon what work you are doing. Let's click on create function. So that will create the Lambda function with the default code or the dummy code. So the Lambda function is successfully created. I'm getting started option, which is help to basically ensure that you can use the critical Lambda function code directly in the Visual Studio Code. So you can simply connect to the Visual Studio Code to this particular Lambda function, and you can start writing your application code or the Lambda function code directly in the Visual Studio Code, and you can deploy the code directly from Visual Studio to this particular Lambda function. So that is the option it is giving. I'm just going to close it. This is my default code which is given as part of the Python Lambda function. This is just a hello Lambda function which is going to return hello from Lambda, right? There is no parameter or event or any input parameter being used here. This is just a hard-coded response. By default, when you create the Lambda function, the default version is automatically deployed. So this is the Lambda function in a diagram view, or if you look at in the template view, which is a JSON or YAML template, this is what it looks like. It gives the idea about whatever selection you have made. Okay. Now here in the Lambda function, you can create or modify or write the code here in this particular editor as well, or you can open it in the Visual Studio anytime right here from this particular section. If I scroll down, it has the several properties. This is a AWS Lambda function specific settings. So it might possible when you're looking at this particular video later, this UI may change, but at the moment the UI about the Lambda function core properties are given here. For example, the Lambda function core package size is at the moment 299 byte because it is just having these many lines of code, which is 3 or 4 lines of code. Then this is the hash of the function deployment, the code deployment. Apart from this, it is having some runtime configuration which you can modify if you would like to. So runtime configuration such as the language version, the Python version, and then the handler. So in case if you have multiple Python files and if you would like to make one of the Python file as a startup file or startup file, then you can change the handler, the name of that particular file name, right? And then architecture is also which you may want to change. You can change it later. And then these are the layers, basically layers of your application code or the Lambda functions code, which you may want to add it. If I scroll it up, then you have the tabular format, different tabulars in this particular UI, which defines the different configurations or the settings. So you have the test setting, which I'll come back to the later point, but let's talk about the configuration section first of all. Now, if I talk about the configuration, you have the number of different configurations available. The general configuration talks about how much memory is allocated to this particular function, which is currently hosted. You can change or manage the memory right here from this particular section by editing the general configuration, and you can change the runtime behavior or how much server or compute power it needs this basically to run it. Next, you can specify the triggers for this function. So let's say this function needs to be triggered by some kind of event. So you can define that particular trigger event right here from this section. Or if you define the trigger event from any other section, let's say I would like to run this Lambda function from the AWS API gateway. So if I add the integration of Lambda function with the API gateway, that integration will be available here. We'll look at that in some other demo in future. If I simply click on trigger, you would find that there are different integration options available. This is the one which I was talking about, like the API gateway integration. Then you also can interact with or attach or create a trigger with the application load balancer or maybe IoT device or S3 as well, or some kind of a queue based configuration as well. So whenever a message arrives in the queue, this Lambda function will start going to be a trigger. So that is another way of looking into or configuring your Lambda function. So let me just close it. Then you have the Lambda functions permissions or the policies and roles and permissions, which you can manage it right here from this particular same configuration. Like you have a destination, you have the function URL. Function URL is an interesting thing at the moment. If you look at the test behavior of the function, this function by default is not accessible, even though it is a publicly available function, which is a PaaS service, but it is not going to be available over the internet. By default, it is disabled. So unless you click on create function URL and you expose that particular function URL over the internet, it will not be available over the internet to be accessible. So from here, by clicking on the create function URL, you should be able to create the URL. I'll show you in a moment. Apart from this, if your function requires to use some kind of configuration depending upon the environment or logic, and if this configuration may need to change based upon certain environment variables or variables, so those variables values can be defined in the environment variable sections. VPC integration, anytime you can integrate your Lambda function with a VPC, not only at the time of creating, but after the creation, anytime you want, you can change it. You can connect to the Lambda function with different databases like the RDS database or any other database types. So this is an option for that. You can define the monitoring options with the Lambda function, like you can attach it to the CloudWatch or any other. So all those configurations is also available here. All right. And then there are some other functions. So I'm not going to talk about more in the detail. This is enough to understand the basics of the Lambda function. Let's now talk about testing of the Lambda function. So this was the code which we had, which is a simple JSON which it is returning right now. So if I would like to test it, I can simply click here, or I can simply click on this particular test tab to test the function. So let's click on test tab. Here in the test tab, basically it whenever you click on it, creates an event, a synchronous event or asynchronous event depending on what you want, and then it sends the event JSON or input, basically input to your function. So this is a default input. So anyways, it is receiving an event object. My function is receiving an event object, so you can send any data type here as an event, depend what your function is looking for. At the moment my function is expecting any event, that is fine because I'm not using that event object anyways. So the thing is, basically you can simply send the event object while calling the function as an input, and that event can be used in your program. I'll show you the code back again. If you look at here, this is an event object and this is a context object. So we are talking about the event object which is getting sent here. I'm going to test the code. So at the moment it is sending the array of or the different key value pairs mapping object as an event. So I'm always using the first key. This is the value. So let's see if that works. This is working fine. So this is a quickest simple video of the Lambda function which we have created. So if I go back to the applications or the dashboard or the functions, I have two functions here, and simply to clean up the function you can simply select here and then simply delete, and that should delete the function which we have. Select one, multiple delete option is not available, and that is it. The function is successfully deleted. All right, so that's about the simplest option of the Lambda function. One more thing about the function is basically generating the URL, right? I was talking about the URL configuration. So if I go back to the configuration, if I go to the function URL, you can simply click here on the create function URL. At the moment, you have two options. The person who has the AWS IAM access, that can access the URL. So if I simply save this, the function URL will be generated, but the appropriate person who has the IAM access or the system who has the IAM access, that from there this function will be accessible. For the demonstration, I'm going to click on none. So that means that this is going to be available or accessible anonymously. Anyone should be able to access whoever has the URL access. So let me just save this. So this is URL which it has generated. If I simply just open it in the browser, I'm getting the response hello from Lambda, as you can see here. I hope you have received some idea about the Lambda function and you would be able to use it in your application or in your AWS. That is it in this demonstration. Thanks for watching it. See you in the next video.